The information in this video is not person specific. It's a general guideline that will work for most. I adjust the numbers that I'm going to recommend based on individual clients. I'm going to discuss what I do to preserve muscle and strength while reducing body fat to very low levels. I'm able to reach 6% body fat while keeping most of my hard-earned muscle by following the strategies I'm going to discuss in the video. The 4 topics I'm going to talk about are diet, weight training, cardiovascular activity, and supplementation. There's going to be some additional tips at the end of the video talking about what I like to do to curb my hunger cravings and also my sweet tooth. After you watch the video, be sure to check out the description below, and you'll find additional information such as the studies in the video, purchasing information for supplements I'm going to suggest, and also a weight training routine that I recommend. If you'd like to know more about me, check out the video I made titled My Background. My advice is going to be based on clinical research along with my own experience in over 20 years of training. First, let's talk about some general rules to maintain your muscle mass while reducing your body fat. You want to aim to lose about 2 pounds per week to ensure most of the weight you lose is fat. This applies to people between 8 and 20% body fat. If you are over 20% body fat, you can lose 3 pounds a week. If you are under 8% body fat, you don't want to generally go over 1 pound lost each week. This will ensure most of the weight you lose is in fact fat and not your hard-earned muscle. Think about this. If you're losing 2 pounds each week and it's mostly fat, over 4 months that adds up to 32 pounds. That's pretty significant. So some things to keep in mind. High glycemic carbohydrates like sugars spike your insulin levels. If you eat fat, something with fat in it, when your insulin's already spiked from those carbs, you're going to be more likely to store the fat on your body. So that's just basic physiology. You want to separate your carbohydrates and your fats with one exception. It's okay to combine healthy carbohydrates, which are low glycemic carbohydrates, and fats in your first meal of the day. Try to avoid combining carbohydrates and fats at other times of the day. Think about this. Pizza, right, is comprised of cheese, which is obviously fat, and then you have pasta sauce and bread, so there's your carbs, and those are what you would call high glycemic carbs. So you want to avoid that, all right? It's okay to have a couple slices of pizza, though, on your cheat day. And I do recommend that you have one cheat day every week. So don't go overboard, though. If you want a couple slices, no big deal. Just don't eat the entire box. Another rule is never skip breakfast. When you eat breakfast, it starts your metabolism early in the day, gets it revved up. You've been fasting all night, so when you've slept 6, 7, 8 hours overnight, you have, your metabolism is very slow, all right? You wake up, you want to get that first thing in the morning, you want to get that meal in you, it'll get the metabolism moving again. Okay. And another tip, if you find that you're very short on time in the morning, you can have something as simple as a Greek yogurt. That's high in protein. It will literally take you 2 minutes to eat a Greek yogurt, so you have no excuse to skip your breakfast. I personally prefer to eat 4 to 6 meals, but what's more important is the macronutrients, which I'll discuss, that you eat throughout the day, not necessarily how many meals you eat. So if you eat less than me, that's fine. If you eat a couple more meals than me, that's okay too. Most of your liquid intake should come from water. Avoid juice. Most juices are loaded with sugar. Sugar is a high glycemic carb. You need mostly low glycemic carbohydrates when you're trying to reduce your body fat. Milk is also loaded with sugar. Skip it. Follow Arnold's advice. Milk is for babies. Learn to love water. 60% of your body is made from water. Water is good. Drink more water. Carry a big bottle or a jug of water and try to finish it every day. Shoot for at least 1 gallon. You're especially going to need extra water when you take in a lot of protein, which is what I recommend. Another tip is that very hot or cold water actually has a negative caloric value. What that means is your body will burn a small number of calories when it brings the hot or cold liquid to its core temperature. What I like to do is add ice to my water, or I like to drink hot tea or hot coffee. Prepare your meals in advance. Make everything for the week on a Sunday so it's ready to go throughout the week. This way, if you're hungry, you're not rushing around looking for something to eat very quick. That's when you tend to make bad decisions. Avoid fruits on your low activity day, which I'll discuss in a minute. Eat lots of vegetables. These are low in calories. They're packed with vitamins. They keep your blood from becoming too acidic when you eat lots of protein. And they keep your belly full. Another tip is that real food is always better than a shake. Your body burns more calories when you eat something that's lean protein in the digestion process than if you drink a protein shake. But I'm not saying protein shakes should be eliminated. It's okay to have, I think, 1 protein shake every day. Sometimes 2 if you really need it. As I said earlier, I suggest 1 cheat day every week. So when you have your cheat day, I usually have it on a Saturday or a Sunday, you don't want to go too far above the high activity macros that I'm going to suggest. This would be the time you're going to pick 2 meals, maybe 3, on your cheat day that you crave during the week. If you want to have a couple beers on your cheat day, go ahead. In my opinion, most diets fail because people are too strict. You want to keep your mental sanity, and you can do this by giving yourself that 1 day every week to loosen up on the food you eat. Another benefit of having 1 cheat day every week is it can rev up your metabolism because you're eating things different than you ate throughout the week. Now that I've covered general tips, let's talk more specifically about diet. Diet is the most important aspect to fat loss. I do not like ketogenic diets. They're effective for weight loss, but they're detrimental to performance. You tend to lose a greater percentage of muscle in the absence of carbohydrates. I tend to rely on carbohydrates for energy when I'm training. My preferred method to lose weight and maintain muscle is strength, and my strength is called carbohydrate cycling. There are many different ways you can carb cycle. Basically, you're going to adjust your daily carbohydrate intake according to your activity level on a given day. So I consume more carbohydrates on days where I'm more active, and I consume less carbohydrates on days that I'm not active. And on the days that I'm consuming less carbohydrates, I will eat more fat. So my suggestions for daily macronutrients are going to be in the form of grams per pound of lean body mass. Think about this. We're looking to feed your muscle. I'm not looking to feed your fat. So it's all about feeding the muscle tissue while reducing your body fat. Okay. Before you start the diet, you want to get your body fat levels tested. There are several methods, but fat calipers can work. You can usually get this done if you go to your local gym, find a personal trainer, a nutritionist, a dietitian, or you can even purchase your own and have a friend help you. Once you do have your body fat percentage, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're off by a couple percents, this will still work. You're going to subtract your body fat percentage from your total body weight. This gives you your lean body mass. So, I provided a website in the description that will help you select healthy foods. This is the Glycemic Index. Some rules are to eat protein with every meal. Eat fat with breakfast and before bed. Eat carbohydrates with breakfast, before you train, and after you train. Do not eat any carbohydrates before you go to bed. So the macronutrients that I suggest, again, are going to be based on your activity levels each day. So for a high activity day, this is what I call a day where you would train your back with exercises that are compound like the deadlift, or a day where you train your legs with things like squats or leg presses. I suggest 1.5 grams of protein, 1 gram of carbs, and 0.25 grams of fat per pound of lean body mass. On a moderate activity day, so this would be a day where you are lifting weights, but you're not doing a lot of compound exercises like the squat, the bench press, or the deadlift. You would consume 1.5 grams of protein, 0.5 grams of carbs, and 0.25 grams of fat. On a low activity day, this is where you don't weight train. You would consume 1.5 grams of protein, 0.25 grams of carbs, and 0.5 grams of fat. So an example, for a person who weighs 200 pounds and is 15% body fat, that person would have 170 pounds of lean mass. So on a high activity day, this person would eat 255 grams of protein, 170 grams of carbohydrates, and 42 grams of fat. Remember, you're going to want to eat mostly low glycemic carbohydrates. The exception to this would be after you train with weights. Check the description for the link that discusses the glycemic index if you're not sure what I'm discussing right now. So an example of a low glycemic carb would be steel-cut oatmeal, sweet potatoes, brown rice, and yams. Some examples of high glycemic carbohydrates would be cereal, pineapples, pasta, and potatoes. When you're making up your diet, you want to choose lean sources of protein that are low in saturated fat. So some examples of this would be chicken, a lean cut of steak, fish, and egg whites. You're going to want to choose healthy fats. So these include essential fatty acids, which are crucial to maintaining healthy hormone levels when you're dieting. So examples of foods that contain healthy fats would be nuts, avocados, flax oil, olive oil. Okay, so a sample diet for a person who weighs 200 pounds and is 15% body fat. Now remember, you don't want to select your foods based on their calories. You're selecting your foods based on their macronutrients. And you're going to adjust the portions that you eat based on your activity level. So remember, high activity day, more carbohydrates. Moderate, slightly less carbohydrates. And a low activity day is going to be very low carbohydrate but a little more fats. So here's the example of a diet. Your first meal, breakfast. You're going to have it lean protein. It could be something like egg whites. You're going to have 1 cup of oatmeal. And you can mix in 1.5 tablespoons of flaxseed oil to your oatmeal. For meal 2, give me 1 second. You're going to want to eat some vegetables along with a lean protein source. So remember, I mentioned a few lean protein sources. This could be a lean cut of steak. It could be something like tuna fish, or it could be some chicken. There's plenty of choices. Next, you might work out. So let's say you train with weights, come back from the gym, time for meal 3. Meal 3 could be a protein shake with a high glycemic carb. Some of the high glycemic carbs I like to have after a workout would be some cereal, pineapple, pasta, or a potato. Any of those would work. Meal 4, you want to have some vegetables, a lean protein, 1 cup of rice or oatmeal. And for the final meal of the day, you want to eat a lean protein with an avocado, or you might choose a handful of walnuts. That would be a good meal to have before you go to bed. So we've talked about diet. Now let's talk about weight training. Weight training is the next most important factor to reducing fat after you've addressed your diet. Weight training is more effective than cardio if you want a lean muscular physique. Building more muscle leads to burning more calories all day long. I can sit on this couch, I can sleep, I can watch TV, and if I have more muscle, I'm burning more calories than the person with less muscle. You want to be consistent and intense in your weight training for your best results. Never ever sacrifice good form to use heavier weight. Learn to use proper form with lighter weights before you start adding the weight. It's a myth that you should train lighter with higher reps to burn more calories. Also, don't reduce your training volume. Maintain or increase it. Squats and deadlifts burn a ton of calories, both during the exercise and after you're finished them. A good lifting routine includes both of these movements. I keep my rest time between exercises around 1 minute. For isolation movements like a tricep extension or, bicep curl. And I rest 2 to 3 minutes for compound movements. So things like a deadlift or a squat or a bench press. So the routine I recommend for weightlifting is Dr. Lane Norton's FAT, which is actually Power Hypertrophy Adaptive Training Program. Your rest and recovery need to be on point for this program. So make sure you're getting the protein I recommended in your diet and get about 7 or more hours of sleep every night. Alpha Destiny and Candido also have excellent lifting routines. I am currently running my own routine, which combines both powerlifting and bodybuilding principles. I'm going to create a video in the future to talk about that. But for now, the FAT routine is an excellent one to get started. You can see the description below for a description on how to run Dr. Norton's FAT program. I recommend hiring a coach and even watching YouTube videos to learn how to use proper form on different exercises. So I'm going to include more videos on exercise technique in the future. Currently, I posted one for bench press, so be sure to check that out. So now that we've discussed diet and weight training, let's talk about cardio. Remember to get your diet and weight training in order before you start adding in cardio. Some people are able to get extremely lean without adding cardio. I usually only need 1, maybe 2 cardio sessions each week to get my body fat below 10%. It's more important to focus on diet than cardio. If I gave you the option to avoid eating just one chocolate chip cookie, or to go and run 2 miles at a fast pace, which would you rather choose? Easy decision. Skip the damn cookie. Don't expect to overcome a bad diet with a lot of cardio. You're going to lose muscle and you're going to look like crap. So the 2 forms of cardio that I like to use are called high intensity interval training, also known as HIIT, and low intensity steady state, which I'll refer to as LISS. Your cardio session should not exceed more than 45 minutes each day. I like to start off by adding 2 15-minute HIIT sessions each week on the days I don't lift weights or after workouts where I don't squat or deadlift. I never go over 2 HIIT sessions each week. That would take away from my ability to recover from my weight training. If the scale stops moving, I like to add 1 40-minute LISS cardio session. I start with 1 LISS session, but I go up to 3 each week if I need them. I never do LISS cardio on days that I do HIIT cardio. I prefer to do LISS in the morning or after I lift weights. It's fine to do LISS any day of the week, but again, I prefer to do it on moderate or low activity days. If I'm short on time and I have to skip weight training or cardio, I will always choose to skip cardio. Cardio is easier when you have some good music or a partner to do it with you. So check the description below for more information about how to run HIIT cardio and how to perform LISS cardio. I'm not going to go into detail on that. The articles that I linked in my description can give you some information. Now let's talk about supplements. So if you haven't noticed, I'm going in order of what I find to be the most important to the least important. So we talked about diet, the most important. Weight training, still very important. Okay. Cardio, and now supplementation. So, as I mentioned, supplements are less important than diet, weight training, or cardio, but they do have value. I would say that about 5, maybe 10% of my results come from supplementation. If my diet is really on point, it's closer to 5%. So I suggest a good protein powder for convenience. There are dozens of options. A couple good ones are Dymatize and Optimum Nutrition. I prefer whey isolates because these are lower in carbohydrates. You can check Amazon for reviews of different protein powders. So some key times to take whey protein would be right when you wake up or after your workout with high glycemic carbohydrates. Remember to subtract the protein powder that you use from your daily macronutrients. Flavored amino acids are helpful. You can sip on these throughout the day, and they help control your sugar cravings. If you do cardio in the morning first thing, have some of these BCAAs first. So morning cardio, I usually like to have some BCAAs, finish up, and then I'll go have my breakfast. Caffeine is a valuable supplement for fat loss. You want to try to stay under 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. Black coffee is the best source of caffeine. I like caffeine at 2 times in the day. First thing in the morning when I wake up, and before I go to lift weights. So there was actually a recent study that showed caffeine intake right before your workout leads to greater fat oxidation. I also included a study about the benefits of caffeine from black coffee in the description below. Another rule is I don't consume caffeine after 4 p.m. Some people can have caffeine a little bit later, but for me, anything after 4 p.m. interferes with my sleep. Sleep is much more important than supplements and especially caffeine intake. So if you have to choose between feeling a little tired in a workout and getting good sleep, or getting all jacked up on a pre-workout and getting bad sleep, skip the pre-workout. Now my next recommendation is for advanced athletes. It's a supplement stack that I've put together based on some research I've done, clinical studies, etc. So there are some disclaimers. Do not take Synephrine if you have high blood pressure. Check with the organization that you compete in to see if Synephrine is permitted. And you want to have your blood pressure monitored while you use Synephrine. So first up, take the stack I recommend 1 time each day. On days you work out, take it before you train with weights. So you want to take 600 milligrams of EGCG, a green tea extract, 800 micrograms of chromium picolinate, and 20 milligrams of Synephrine. But start with 10 milligrams of Synephrine for 3 days to assess your tolerance and see how your body reacts. So you're going to do this for 4 weeks, and then after 4 weeks, you're going to take 1 week off where you don't take any Synephrine. So if you check the description below, I include some links on where to purchase the products you need for this stack. Again, this stack will accelerate fat reduction, and it works for several reasons, but I'll cover that in another video. Alright, if you made it this far, I have some extra tips to help you decrease the hunger pains that you might experience, and also to reduce some of your sugar cravings. So remember, it's normal to experience occasional hunger pains when you're reducing your calories, which you very well may be doing if you follow the diet I recommended earlier. Just remember, you'll live. So here's my suggestions. Eat more veggies. Eat foods that are high in fiber. Oatmeal is one example of that. Eat more slowly. You can do that by having a conversation with a friend, a family member, or you can even just chew your food a bit more slowly. Eat cabbage. Cabbage fills up your stomach, reduces your hunger pains, and it's free calories. Drink at least 1 gallon of water every day. That is super important for anyone, not just people looking to reduce fat. So, another tip, and this one's kind of funny, but it works, is to play video games. I know what you're thinking, Tom, you're crazy, play video games? It works. Think about this. If you're reducing the calories you're eating, and all you're thinking about is when your next meal is, when you play video games, you tend to get absorbed in them, if it's a good game, and all those thoughts about food tend to go away, so it makes it a little bit easier to diet. However, I don't always recommend this for people with a lot of responsibilities. For me, I can't do this right now. But if you have the time, go for it. To reduce sugar cravings, I recommend drinking the flavored amino acids, having some peanut butter or some almond butter. So these are higher in healthy fats, but they have a sweet taste. You can suck on some hard candy, like a Jolly Rancher, a Lifesaver. Eating Jell-O, it's an excellent choice. Flavored water ice is a nice treat to have because it lasts a long time as you eat it. And compared to something like ice cream, it's much lower in carbohydrates and calories. Also, you can use Splenda to sweeten things instead of sugar. Do not drink alcohol too often. Try and save that for your cheat day. The reason being, alcohol is a form of sugar. So if you're having a couple beers here and there throughout the week, you're going to have really bad sugar cravings when you reduce your high glycemic carbs with the diet I recommend. Again, a couple beers on the weekend, no big deal. Okay, so that's it, guys. Don't forget to check the description below for more information. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. My time's a little limited right now, but if you leave a comment below the video, I'll try and get back to you. Alright guys, stay strong.